Hi everyone, I'm John C. Morley, the host of the JMOR Tech Talk Show and Inspirations for Your Life. Well, hey guys, how are you? It is John C. Morley here, serial entrepreneur, and you are watching the JMOR Tech Talk Show, and today is Friday. Yes, Friday, January 17th, 2025. Welcome, everyone. And this is our third show, and we are in series number 4. Welcome, everyone. This is going to be a great show here today. Tech Unleashed. Lawsuits, innovations, and game-changing trends. We're on series 4, and this is show number 3. Once again, everyone, welcome to the JMOR Tech Talk Show. You can always catch this show and other shows and other great short and long form content. So if you missed something or you just want to learn about something new, well, why not head over after the show, that is, to believemeachieve.com. It's also on my hat. You can see it there cycling, believemeachieve.com. Maybe you want to grab something delicious from your kitchen. Maybe that's a piece of fruit. Maybe that's something sweet. Maybe it's something sour. Maybe it's something hot. Maybe it's something cold. Maybe it's something healthy or not. Go ahead and run and get that, and we'll get the show kicked off. All right, everyone? So we have made a change to our format in January of 2025 in Series 4, in that when we do our shows now, they are 58 or 59 minutes to hold to a standard because more and more places are actually starting to carry our show. Thank you to many of the cable stations across the United States, and we even got some in Europe that are starting to stream our content. Very, very grateful for those people that have found value in what I'm doing. All right, everyone. So welcome to the JMOR Tech Talk Show. I am your host and podcast coach, John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur. Thank you so much for being here. It is really great to be with you. So get ready as I unpack this week's hottest tech stories, breaking down everything you need to know to stay ahead in the digital age, whether it's the groundbreaking innovations, corporate shakeups, or the latest industry drama. I've got you covered, ladies and gentlemen. So just sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. All right, everyone. So our first topic that I want to get right into, and I think it's a pretty interesting one, and this is regard to Mr. Elon Musk. So the U.S. supports Musk's argument in the OpenAI lawsuit. The U.S. antitrust enforcers, including the Federal Trade Commission, FTC, and Department of Justice, DOJ, have provided legal analysis supporting parts of Elon Musk's lawsuit against OpenAI's transition to a public company. Musk alleges that OpenAI, co-founded by him, engaged in anti-competitive practices in collaboration with Microsoft, including investor restrictions and shared board members. While not taking a stance on the lawsuit, regulators highlighted the legal implications of board member affiliations and investor boycotts. OpenAI and Microsoft deny wrongdoing, with OpenAI labeling the claims as harassment and lacking evidence. The case underscores ongoing regulatory scrutiny into AI partnerships and antitrust concerns. So, ladies and gentlemen, regardless of whether we're talking about Microsoft, Google, Amazon, they all play games, right? And so I want to tell you that it's important to understand that, ladies and gentlemen, it is about, it's really about, this whole thing of doing the right thing, right? And I think sometimes people, they don't do the right thing. And not to single out one company, but, they get greedy And they're in it, ladies and gentlemen, just for the money. So I know personally, I think that moving OpenAI to a publicly traded company probably would be a bad idea. Because even though there's going to be some companies that are going to use the technology for profit, to have the whole conglomeration as a not-for-profit, I see that to be a really, 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 really big problem. And so I want to let you know, ladies and gentlemen, that this is going to take some time. All right. But the question is, will the DOJ let OpenAI become a public company? And although I can't say 100%, I'm going to say I don't think they want it. They've announced the plans on December 27th that they want to transition to become a public benefit corporation. And, they were operating originally for the greater good of the society. So I see this as a problem. They claim that they want to keep the not-for-profit going, but I think that's going to be really a big conflict of interest. You let me know, ladies and gentlemen, because I think that's a big problem. And I know you're probably saying, "Hey, John, this is a little bit nuts." Well, it's not nuts, ladies and gentlemen. It's the fact that people sometimes don't understand why things are done away. And then when they can't get what they want, they decide they want to flip things or change, the whole stage. But making OpenAI public will not be good. So I just want to say this. So making OpenAI public is a bad idea, in my opinion. And there's lots of reasons for it. But making OpenAI a public company, that's what they're trying to do. OpenAI leads the AI research lab, and Elon runs a competing AI company, and he's asking the court to stop from effectively pursuing the mission. Elon created the public benefit corporation, Open Artificial Intelligence Technologies. So he's saying it's a bad idea. But this is the thing now. Elon seems to be, drinking out of both sides of the cup too. Is this really for Elon's benefit, or is this for the world's benefit? Because let's face it, all these people, they don't do things all the time for the greater good of good. I'm sorry. Again, with the charitable, let's say, notion that it had, people were very interested in OpenAI because it wasn't generating a profit. But now that whole thing is going to change if this goes through. But my big question, this is my big question, will the government allow OpenAI to transform to a public company? And I don't know. So far, it seems like it's going through. But remember, the company was based on the roots of nonprofit. And so when you do something like that and then convert to a for-profit, it's like you pierce the whole veil of a not-for-profit entity. So this is according to Sam Altman, who made the comment that it's thinking about restructuring, but said the departures of the key executives the day before weren't related. Of course they weren't. So I don't really trust Sam, to be honest. He's lied in the past, not to get into all the details. But any excess profit would go back to the nonprofit. So they set up a new for-profit corporation for a cap on the amount of profits that investors or employees could reap, and put the nonprofit and its board in charge of the new entity, 2019. Any excess profits would go back to the nonprofit. This was Brockman and Sutzker had explained this in practice. Little money has gone back to the nonprofit in recent years. Brockman has been on leave since August, leaving Altman one of the few early leaders. And this was around 2019. So this was a while ago. But I think, the question is, if it becomes a public company, is it going to make OpenAI like really expensive that the world can't afford it? I don't know. I think that's a problem. I think a lot of people don't really understand, what's going on, but this could really complicate things. And also from let's say, a security standpoint. So we'll keep an eye on this, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll definitely let you know what's going on there. Ladies and gentlemen, my friends over, TSMC, in case you guys didn't know what that stood for. So TSMC is Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, and they have begun producing advanced 4-nanometer chips in Arizona. It's a milestone hailed by U.S. Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo as a breakthrough in domestic semiconductor manufacturing. Now, remember, they were only scheduled to do 5 or 6. Now they're doing 4-nanometer technology. That's like unheard of. So this achievement follows a $6.6 billion grant from the United States government to support TSMC's Phoenix-based facilities, part of the $52.7 billion semiconductor subsidiary program initiated in 2022. The company has expanded its investment to $65 billion, planning 3 fabs in Arizona by 2030, including a second facility to produce 2-nanometer chips starting in 2028. That's like so amazing. Amkor Technology is also building a $2 billion advanced packaging plant nearby, further boosting Arizona's role as a semiconductor hub. These efforts aim to raise the U.S. share of global leading-edge chip production to 20% by 2030, with TSMC and Apple leading the charge. Now, my only concern, ladies and gentlemen, about TSMC, I don't know a lot about them from their management and things like that. They have a very good, let's say, plan with the way they make their chips. In fact, it's so proprietary that they don't even allow people in their facility that don't work for them. In fact, one of the reporters that went there had to go through like so many checks, and he was only able to record certain things because they didn't want some things getting out. So they were very, very careful. And TSMC is having like an Arizona day at the college so they can recruit people, but they're bringing people from China too. The question is that TSMC, the building is owned by the United States. The business seems to be kind of commingled between TSMC and, so that's a very, very big thing. I don't know. It's a little bit crazy. It's crazy, right? I think a lot of people don't realize it. And I think some people are confused. Right? I think people don't know what TSMC's intentions are. And that could be a problem. And I think some people don't quite understand that it's about a whole culture difference. So this is the big question. Who owns the TSMC in Phoenix? Who owns that? So they are going to make, or they have made, one of the most advanced chip fab facilities. TSMC is going to add more staff. But the question is, who owns, the TMC business in the U.S.? And, that's a tricky question. I think it's a partnership, and they're obviously on U.S. soil, so there's a lot that the U.S. can do, but I'm just concerned that the U.S. is going to get a fair shake at this, and that they're not going to be, let's say, you know, overly charged. The one good thing is that the chips being made here will be exempt from that 20, 30, or 40% surcharge that Trump is attempting to put on things very soon. So we'll have to see, but I think it's great that we're going to have 4 nanometer chips. I mean, that's amazing. Apple wants to use them. So I think that's a really good thing that we're going to start to see production being used for things right here in the United States. And more of that is on the way, ladies and gentlemen. In other great news, well, we have another little situation that has unfortunately come up. Infosys accuses Cognizant of anti-competitive practices. India's Infosys has filed a counterclaim against the U.S.-based Cognizant in a Texas federal court, alleging anti-competitive practices such as restrictive contract clauses preventing clients from engaging competitors and targeted recruitment of key Infosys executives, including Cognizant's 2023 CEO hire S. Ravi Kumar. And so Infosys claims these actions hindered its ability to develop its Infosys Helix software. The case follows a 2023 lawsuit by Cognizant's subsidiary TriZetto, accusing Infosys of misusing trade secrets related to healthcare insurance software. Infosys seeks triple damages, attorney fees, and other costs, while Cognizant refutes the claims, emphasizing fair competition. It's funny. Nobody seems to care, and they do care. What do I mean by that? Well, nobody cares about something until somebody else is making money or making more money than the other person. It's like when they're making less money, it's no big deal. When they're making about the same, it's no big deal, but they're concerned. But then as soon as they start making even a penny more, it's like, okay, we got to sue them, right? And I get the reason for it, but I think, they should have been able to work out an agreement like, hey, if they're making money, well, maybe they got to pay the parent company something back, right? I mean, they're playing childish games. And I think this is like really, really, stupid. All right. But we'll keep following the story for you. All right. I'll let you know what's actually happening there. Amazon is set to cut certain diversity programs. Amazon is winding down some of its diversity and inclusion programs that they announced in December's memo to employees obtained by Reuters, Thomson Reuters. The announcement reflected a shift in companies' internal initiatives, though further details on the affected programs are unclear. The decision comes amidst broader discussions in corporate America about scope and impact of diversity efforts. I think what it really comes down to, if I had to guess, it's not stated here, but if we read between the lines, it's about money, ladies and gentlemen. It's about money. And so, when they've hit some of its DEI programs and stopping them, Amazon only does things to make money. Okay. And so if something is not making them any money, guess what they're going to do? They're going to get rid of it. It doesn't matter what diversity, what inclusion, what it means. Okay. It doesn't really matter. It comes down to the bottom line. What kind of dollars are the company netting at the end of the day? That's a really simple answer for everyone. And, that's the whole thing. So we'll definitely keep an eye on it, but I am a little disappointed in Amazon that they would do something like this because, they try to put their best foot forward and then they go and put their foot right in their mouth. So I have a lot of disrespect for them, unfortunately, because of the way they operate. They're just a price-hungry, profitable machine. They don't care who they harm, who they hurt. They're just part of that big corporate umbrella that just does anything and everything to keep staying afloat. Another one I'll give you is Cisco. Okay, so Cisco always is a sore thorn with me because of something that happened many years ago. So we're in business over 31 years. About, I'm going to say probably at least 15 years ago, we were still going to Cisco's conventions where, they invite you, they wine and dine you, they take you to things like cigarette boats and all these crazy things. But at the end of the day, I just want to get a better price so I can give it to my end users, right? They just want to take you out to dinner, all this stuff. Well, I remember having a conversation with somebody, but and they're telling me that they're going to get rid of the Cisco Unity phones, the system that they have. You now have to buy a completely new system. So that small system that we had invested money in, so that we thought that was going to be great for partners and stuff like that. Turns out they say they want to basically support small business, but small business to Cisco is not what we consider small business. They consider small business 100 or more. So what is small business? If we had to think about it, number of employees, it's pretty easy. Small business is usually defined basically by small companies. Now, according to the larger scope, it ranges from 1 million to over 40 million. That's not really small business if we want to think of it like that. Okay. The average startup in 2019 had 3.3 employees per business. That's small, right? When we think about an average small business, probably has 15, 20 employees, right? Maybe 30, maybe 50, something like that. But the thing is, it's not 100, it's not 500 employees. Cisco thinks that's what it is, but I'm getting off topic here for a moment. What I want to tell you was, it was about, so we stopped working with them about 15 years ago, roughly. And so in that end of that year, not only did I get annoyed for what they did to us and to other people and how they were going to hurt our clients, I said, we got to do something. We have to duck these people. And so then, I heard them buying all these companies, and that's not so good because Cisco's not really making innovations. They're just taking what they have and slapping stuff on it. That's just what I've seen. We've had issues with phone systems crashing because, a firmware was not updated, but you can't get the firmware because your phone system's not in support anymore. It's just a real terrible thing. And so I remember right around the end of that 15th year, actually, we didn't go to the Cisco conference that year. That was the one year we didn't go. So I think it was around maybe midsummer. And we had a client of ours who owns a dentist office in a part of New Jersey. And we did a network for them. And the Cisco business switch was failing. So what I mean by it was failing, well, what happens is the switch did 10, 100, 1,000 those days. We had 10, yes, but 10, mostly 100, and then some 1,000s on some of the newer equipment. But what was happening is that it was not able to auto-differentiate between the 10, the 100, 1,000. So you had to force it, which I didn't want to do. So I remember calling Cisco and telling them, hey, we've got a business switch. This is the model. It's the serial number. We need to replace it. Well, they start wasting so much time trying to have me go through things. I said, look, I've already reset the switch. I've already factory defaulted the firmware. I've already upgraded the firmware. I've done all this stuff, and it doesn't work. Okay, sir. Well, we can set up a case. Great. So now we set up a case, and guess what happens? They want me to mail it to them. I said, I got a client that is basically down right now. I can't wait for you to mail me something after I send this to you. It wasn't them overnighting me or even 2-daying me a new switch. That was terrible. So I said, what are you going to do for me? They said, well, there's not much we can do for you. You can buy another switch or we wait to get it back. I said, what happened to the lifetime warranty and the next? Oh, we don't do it on that model anymore. I said, are you kidding me? So I remember telling him that we're going to take this switch and we're going to take it out and we're going to drop it so far in that dumpster. And so help me, not one person in my company is ever going to order a Cisco product again, because if they do, even a penny, they will be fired, because Cisco doesn't care about us. It doesn't care about our profit. They like to make you think they care. They don't. Cisco does not care the truth. Cisco doesn't care about their partners or about their clients. It's all about the money. And I know that's kind of crazy. But they have lots of success stories. We even involved one of their recommended call centers because at the time we were like a silver dealer. But then when I saw what was happening, how they just wanted more money from us and how they kept getting us crappy leads. And when I saw what they were doing with the fact that we just spent all this money on a system to start demoing people, and then I heard that that system is going to be yanked and you have to go to a completely new model like server. You can still use the phones. I'm like, oh, that's just terrible. I mean, I think the only thing we have is a few Cisco phones that we're using on our IP network system. But I'll tell you, when those phones die, we're replacing them one off and one off. We use Yealink, and much better product. I just don't like the way Cisco just buys companies and thinks that that's what they can do. And then whenever they have a problem, they blame it on the fact that, oh, you have to open a ticket or something. So I'm sorry, Cisco. Definitely we were done with you years ago. Never coming back. You couldn't pay me any amount of money to come back and do business with you. Sorry. You make your first impression and you made it so many times. We give you so many opportunities and you really kind of, let's say, kicked yourself more than just in the foot. So we definitely do not do Cisco. When we see it on a deal, we walk away. We keep away from it like a 10-foot pole because we see them as nothing, ladies and gentlemen, but a headache. All right. So hopefully Cisco, hopefully Amazon understand diversity, and hopefully they recognize the fact that these programs are vital for the people that work there. Diversity, inclusion, whether that be different types of alliances, whether that be things like, having certain support. That could be no discrimination for race, religion, sexual orientation, creed, color. They can't really do political party, okay, for any kind of DUI, diversity, inclusion programs. But what I can tell you is that, they use these things to try to get people's attention, okay? It's something that most people don't understand until they're faced with it, right? And so a lot of people I've talked to are really fed up with the whole effort. And so it's a problem. It's a big problem. And they keep changing what they do and not do every single day. And so it stands for diversity, equity, and inclusion. And although they said they're committed to a diverse, inclusive workplace, they have dropped or started to drop some of these programs. So I've lost respect for them too. Because when you have to come down to stuff like this, that's a big problem. Another one I have a real big problem with, I'm going to mention the name. I'm not going to mention how I learned about it because that wouldn't be proper business. But I recently learned that Altice, Optimum USA, which is basically owned by the French, they do something really kind when, and I say kind facetiously, when it came time to, let's say, end of summer, well, they decided they were going to cut. They turn off all of their water coolers every winter and don't turn them back on until May 1st. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a move that is so below the belt, so unprofessional, so much like, we don't respect you as an employee. Everyone deserves water, clean water. All right. So I have a big problem with that, a really big problem. And ladies and gentlemen, something that I know has been on everybody's mind. What's life after the potential TikTok ban going to be like? Yep, the TikTok possible ban. The U.S. Supreme Court is reviewing the law that may force TikTok, owned by Chinese parent company ByteDance, to sell or be banned by January 19, 2025. And as the time of this show, that is just a day or two away. That's actually Sunday. Now, I'm wondering if they're going to do anything on Sunday, or if they're going to wait till Monday, or if they're going to wait till 21st, because technically nothing happens on a Sunday. I don't think they're going to do anything on Martin Luther King Day, right? Donald Trump gets in on the 20th, so maybe you'll have some power to do something so it changes on the 21st. I don't know, but I've never seen a president overturn a Supreme Court's decision ever in the history of time. So they want to have it sold due to national security concerns. If the law passes, new users won't be able to download TikTok, and the existing users won't receive updates, potentially making the app unusable over time. While current users may still access the app, content creators and advertisers will face uncertainty, with some already preparing for the worst. TikTok's U.S. employees are concerned about extreme layoffs, and despite the ban threat that's out there, some are still receiving job offers. Potential buyers, including billionaire Frank McCourt, are exploring options for acquiring TikTok, including Mr. Wonderful, from Shark Tank. So, will someone buy TikTok in the U.S.? That's a big concern, okay? And they said right now that TikTok is worth $200 billion. Without the algorithm, it's worth $40 billion. This is quite a bit of money. And the thing is, there was actually something that came out the other day. More information is coming out. But is the ban going to happen? This is the real question. Will the U.S. ban TikTok? And so it's really up in the air. It's up in the air, and everybody is concerned, right? But the question is anyone looking to buy TikTok? I think that's really what it comes down to at the end of the day. There are people that could buy TikTok, right? People that have looked at it. Jimmy Donaldson, which you all know as Mr. Beast, wrote on X that he would buy TikTok so it doesn't get banned, later claiming he had so many billionaires reach out to him and said he would see if we can pull this off. Frank McCourt, an internet advocacy group run by the billionaire him, and he submitted a proposal backed by Shark Tank. Investor Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful, and Guggenheim Securities and others on January 9th put information in to buy TikTok's US-based assets, saying the group would restructure the company to collect less user data. A former TikTok employee suggested to Forbes that Amazon could potentially purchase the app, although wouldn't that be disastrous? As Amazon, the third largest advertiser on the app, has deepened its relationship with the platform after announcing a partnership allowing users to browse and purchase Amazon products on TikTok. The video sharing platform Rumble offered to buy TikTok in March of 2024, saying the company was ready to join a consortium with other parties to purchase the app. Though neither Rumble nor CEO Chris Pavlovski disclosed details about the offer. Bobby Kotick, Activision Blizzard former CEO, expressed interest in purchasing TikTok. The thing is, will TikTok get sold? I don't have an answer for you. But I know that if you're just one person, 170 millions on TikTok, some people say they really don't care if TikTok goes away. I mean, we use it for some social media. We do stream some stuff on it. Is it our most engaged platform? I'd have to tell you no. It's not our most engaged platform. We're getting some interest, but the viewers on TikTok, I don't know, they're looking for things that are not always educational. They're looking for things that don't always make sense. And if you know what I create content that helps people improve the quality of their lives. I don't create content that's going to be some stupid thing about, how to knock a can off a cliff, and it has no purpose, right? Or you see these people saying a hack for an ATM or some other stuff, and you watch it for a while. This is a waste of time. Or you watch somebody doing a cake, and I'm like, this is a waste of time. And they don't even tell you what they're going to do. It's like so stupid. And ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you guys know Spotify, but so Spotify had a little glitch. Spotify says it has recovered after its recent outage. Spotify experienced a widespread outage last Friday, which was actually January 10th, starting around 8 p.m., causing music streams to stop and prevent some users from logging back in. Over 30,000 reports were filed on Down Detector, and Spotify acknowledged the issue on Twitter and later confirmed the services were restored by 11:16 p.m. Eastern. The problem appeared to be a minor partial outage affecting the player itself with no evidence of a larger cloud or routing issue. Well, that's good. So we'll have to stay tuned with what's going on there. And good old Mark. Yes, haven't talked about him too much. Mr. Mark Zuckerberg misleads Joe Rogan on content moderation. Mark Zuckerberg's interview on the Joe Rogan Experience on January 10, 2025 has been criticized for spreading misinformation and avoiding key issues. During the conversation, Zuckerberg downplayed the role of Facebook in moderating content during the 2020 election and the COVID-19 pandemic, claiming he faced undue pressure from the Biden administration. However, he omitted the fact that Republicans, particularly from Congress, had been pressuring him for years. He misrepresented the motivations behind Facebook's moderation decisions, particularly in regard to the lab leak theory and misinformation about the pandemic. Zuckerberg's vague yet very misleading answers also extended to his portrayal of fact-checking programs, which he downplayed as biased. While pushing back on accusations of censorship, Zuckerberg failed again to acknowledge how conservative views influence his platform's moderation policies. His remarks were also aimed at deflecting attention from his company's recent troubles with privacy concerns and the influence of Apple. Despite his reassurances, Zuckerberg's interview revealed more about his attempt to placate political forces than address the reality of Facebook's moderation practices. Ladies and gentlemen, I lost respect for that guy a long time ago. I mean, when I heard how the company was built, it's basically taken from one of his roommates. I mean, that was just low. I mean, come on, Mark. Couldn't you have come up with anything else? Couldn't you have come up with a fair partnership? The fact that you just swindled them to write that program, karma pays back. And I see you're starting to get some of it paying back to you with lots of fines. So maybe you'll learn your lesson, but I don't think you will. I remember when you started the company, you said that, money is not of interest to you. But you quickly changed your tune when you started to have a taste of it. You're one of the people that getting money to is a bad thing because you actually abuse your power. You don't use it in a proper way to empower others. I think wealth is great, but it should be used for yourself, but it also should be used for the greater good of all concerned. Now, I'm not saying to give money to everything, but you foolishly squander it and you do things with Facebook that is so ridiculous. Yes, we have accounts on Facebook. Don't use for anything personal, and we do exchange some content, but again, it's not our be-all, end-all platform, okay? I've said this to you guys once before. If you choose to use social media, okay, don't expect, number one, them to delete something if you put something up there that you decide, oh my gosh, that shouldn't be up there. May never come down. Number two, realize that the outcomes of Facebook or other social media is predicated not on you. You don't own it. Therefore, the companies that control the social media platforms, they decide who, when, what, and where, and if it's ever going to be. All right, so we will keep an eye on Mr. Zuckerberg for you, but I think that's a real issue. Well, Honda and Nissan decided to do a merger with their factories, the SUVs in China. Honda's potential merger with Nissan aims to enhance competitiveness against the rapidly growing Chinese automotive market. especially in electric and autonomous vehicles. Honda sees the opportunity to share resources in factories to reduce costs, particularly in the development of software-defined vehicles and advanced driving systems. Honda is also interested in Nissan's large SUVs like the Armada Pathfinder to basically bolster its hybrid offerings. However, Nissan has faced financial struggles, including a sharp earnings decline, which Honda sees as a chance to utilize excess factory capacity. While challenges like tariff threats and EV incentives persist, Honda remains committed to electrification and their plans to expand its EV lineup. Wow, that's just a lot. Unacast reports data hack to Norway. Location tracking company Unacast confirmed to the Norwegian government that it was hacked, with the breach involving its subsidiary Gravy Analytics. The hack, discovered on January 4th, 2025, compromised data from Gravy's server via a misused access key. While some leaked data appears authentic, the full extent of the breach is still under investigation, and it's believed some stolen files may include personal data. Unacast and the Norwegian Data Protection Authority have not provided additional comments on the matter, which is very interesting. We'll have to see what happens with that too. But lots of things happening, more hacks happening as well. And here's one I think that's really interesting. A new innovation. By using a biodegradable paper battery, it will now offer the ability to have energy revolution in a whole new way. A Singapore-based startup, Flint, has developed a biodegradable paper battery made from renewable materials that can decompose in just 6 weeks. The battery offers a similar lifespan to traditional lithium-ion batteries, but is lighter, cheaper, and more environmentally friendly. It uses a hydrogel ring, which within the paper as an electrolyte and separator, making it adaptable to existing battery manufacturing processes. Flint is also discussing potential partnerships with over 20 companies in sectors like consumer electronics, electric vehicles, and space exploration. With a $2 million in funding set, the startup is focused on commercializing the technology to provide safer, sustainable, and more cost-effective energy solutions. That's very, very interesting. And Mr. Zuckerberg is back on the map again. Yeah, you can't keep yourself out of trouble, can you, Mark? So Mark Zuckerberg criticized Apple in a podcast with Joe Rogan, as we said, but he was accusing the company of lacking innovation since the iPhone launch by Steve Jobs. He called Apple's recent efforts, such as the Vision Pro headset, and I quote, underwhelming, and suggested that the company's reliance on quote unquote random rules limits competition, hurting developers and Meta's profits. Zuckerberg also argued that Apple's security issues, which prevent other products from easily connecting to Apple devices, could be resolved with better protocols. Additionally, he claimed that Meta's profits could double if Apple stopped its restrictive policies. So again, he doesn't really care about you. He doesn't care about me. He cares about his company. He cares about his profits. He talked about nothing else, just the fact that Apple's move was stupid and wasn't a good choice, only because it's taking money out of his pocket. That's why Mark cares. Otherwise, to be honest with you, Mark wouldn't give a darn. Prime Video uses AI and next-gen stats to enhance NFL viewing. Yes, this new system that they have on the broadcast of NFL games has evolved with AI and next-gen stats, enhancing how viewers understand the game. Using AI, the broadcast features real-time player tracking, defensive alerts, and pressure points to simplify complex strategies for all fans. The introduction of the Skycam has improved viewing by offering a maiden view of the game with AI tools like player movement analysis and offense-defense stats. Prime Video has created a new, more engaging experience for NFL viewers, allowing them to explore deeper insights into the game. All right, we'll have to see where that's going. That's a very, very interesting thing. And the UK universities quit X over misinformation. Several UK universities and higher education institutions have scaled back or completely withdrawn from Elon Musk's platform X, previously known as Twitter, due to concerns over misinformation, particularly after it was linked to fueling racial riots in 2023. A survey revealed that many universities, including prominent ones like the University of Cambridge and Oxford, have reduced their engagement or stopped posting altogether. They cited the declining audience engagement, concerns over content promoting violence, and the growing toxicity of the platform. Some institutions are exploring alternatives for their communication channels. Wow. That's a very interesting thing there. And our last story for the evening is inside a fusion startup secret opening. At the opening ceremony of a fusion energy startup, a truly but bizarre and awe-inspiring spectacle unfolded. Venture capitalists, military officials, and scientists entered a vast high-tech venue being greeted by robots playing instruments and a woman serenading, combining extraordinary piano skills with an intricate gown designed to control a fusion reactor. The event, curated by a blend of artists, scientists, and entrepreneurs, featured an electrifying performance that blurred the lines between technology and art. The occasion was organized by a team including serenade virtuoso, pianist, and hacker, and Charlotte, a supermodel and composer whose collaborations brought together cutting-edge robots and a visionary fusion startup. The result was a celebration that captured the wonder of both technological advancement and artistic expression, blending them into an amazingly, very unusual, mesmerizing experience. Wow. So AI, a lot of these tech stories with people doing things and other people challenging them. And the reason they're challenging them is very simple. They don't want people to get ahead unfairly. And I perfectly understand that. And I have to laugh, though, with what Mark's doing. Mark doesn't care about anybody but himself. Mark is selfish. Is that bad? I don't know. But Mark Zuckerberg is very selfish. And he's not the only one, but he is one that's very, very selfish. And so starting with Llama 3.1, Mark has established himself as the king of open source AI. Contrary to popular belief, Zuckerberg has admitted that the pursuance of an open source strategy is due to somewhat a selfish reason about the tech ecosystem, as he wants to influence how the models are developed and integrated into the social fabric. He made an interesting quote. "We're not pursuing this out of altruism, though I believe it will benefit the ecosystem. We're doing it because we think it will enhance our offerings by creating a strong ecosystem around contributions as seen by the PyTorch community." So he says it right there, ladies and gentlemen. He's not doing this for the greater good of all concerned. Everything Mark does, he does for his pocket, for his money. And so this guy, the only time he would do something that would seem to be, somewhat altruistic is when he's getting a major plug for that. I mean, that's really it. If he's getting a major plug for doing something, then guess what? He's going to do it. So we started out, ladies and gentlemen, talking about how, basically the United States is somewhat backing Musk in the fact that, moving to OpenAI, in being a publicly traded company from a not-for-profit, as we can see, is definitely not a great idea. And TSMC, as I said, yes. So TSMC has many plans for the U.S. But you might be saying, John, this is a little bit crazy. They made an interesting statement that the TSMC's U.S. plan is unlikely to get the latest chip tech before Taiwan. So, again, the company that's driving the direction of chip manufacturing and the innovations is TSMC. So TSMC is investing $65 billion in factories in Arizona. TSMC's chief executive describes challenges of working in the United States And the U.S. government has offered TSMC strong support. So I know Trump's probably very, very happy with this move because he's been wanting us to produce more stuff in our own state. And what he's doing is he's trying to impose the tariff, right? The tariff. So the question everyone's been asking, John, is so when will Trump impose the import tariff? And that's a great question. You know, he's mentioned it on December 5th, 2024. He's promised to impose a new state slating of these different tariffs as soon as he enters office in January. So does that mean on the 20th to 21st he's going to do this? I don't know. How do tariffs work? And what do? Tariffs are taxes placed on imports, and they're imposed by the government on companies that import goods. So technically, tariffs are paid by domestic importers. However, most economists agree that a fair portion of the cost of tariffs is paid by the consumer. So you guessed it, ladies and gentlemen, the consumers are going to get hit with these fees down the road. So during his first term, Trump wants to go ahead and impose these tariffs that President Joe Biden left in place during his term. And what impact the tariffs will have on the U.S., well, that's still to be seen. I mean, I think Joe was trying to do some stuff, but I think he's just kind of had it. And so tariffs do affect international trade. In the aggregate, tariffs basically decrease trade by making it more expensive for the U.S. to import goods from certain countries. Thus, certain places may decide not to import those things because they don't necessarily want to pay more money out. If they don't want to pay more money out, then they're eventually going to have to charge their clients. Nobody wants to pay more, right? So tariffs increase prices and decrease trade, unfortunately, gentlemen. So we're going to have to see, what happens, why it happens, where are things going, and how is our world evolving? How is it changing? And I think this is something that a lot of people today, tomorrow, and as we move into the future, are asking themselves, how do we get more manufacturing back in the United States of America? And that's not an easy question. That is not an easy question, ladies and gentlemen. It's not an easy question, but it's something that we need to consider if we want to make sure the safety of our job workers, the things are not getting kicked overseas. That's a big, big problem. I mean, 1 in 5 companies outsources their call center. Did you know that? 1 in 5 companies outsource their call center. That's a lot. And with different companies out there offering all types of things like virtual assistant services and stuff like that, it's interesting because, companies now, they're doing basically they do 160 hours a month, okay? And so for $11.99 a month. But it's only for the first 3 months, and then they charge $12.99. So they have, the ability to do rigorous quality control. They have a workspace app, your time zone, any hours you want worked, share with colleagues, and understand the sharing/storage model. And I think it's very interesting. In fact, the thing that I think is really apropos about this is they have 3 prices on their page. One page is $11.99 a month, okay? Another page is $10.99, and then their basic plan is $10.49. And so the $10.49 doesn't give you unlimited file storage. It doesn't give you free replacements. It doesn't give you the customer success manager. It doesn't give you the rigorous quality control. And it doesn't give you the app. It also doesn't allow you to share with colleagues. So if you wanted something that's going to be used on a regular basis, then you probably want to pick the right plan. But I mean, like this company here, when I go to the site, okay, and you go to try to find out where they're out of, so they're out of California. But if I did some further digging, what I would probably find out is even though they are using California, they're probably sourcing their workers from all over the country. And this is a big, big problem for everyone, a very, very big problem. So, you know, like I said, we've got lots of good things happening with TSMC. TikTok, I mean, the world will not end if TikTok decides, I should say, the Supreme Court justice decides to shut them. I mean, a lot of people are going to cry, but they'll get over it. All right. In fact, they have a new app now. I think it's called Lemon 7 to replace TikTok. But here's the thing. It's actually run and owned by the same company, ByteDance. So they're coming. I think it's called Lemon 8. And so Lemon 8 has not yet. It's a video sharing platform that basically markets the fact of the vertical scrolling format of TikTok in favor of a Pinterest board style format. But what Lemon 8 and TikTok do have in common is both have a following and For You tabs to show you posts from creators you follow and posts the app thinks you will like. So it's interesting, but I think we're going to have to wait and see what's going to happen. Because I think that day, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be a very, very big day. Because if they speak to people and if, let's say, it's not in alignment with what they want, I see this becoming a huge, huge, huge problem. Well, just a quick wrap up, everyone. We talked about Mr. Elon Musk not being in favor of moving OpenAI to basically a public company. We talked about TSMC starting to manufacture 4-nanometer chips. Infosys with their countersues and Cognizant in Texas. Amazon deciding, because they want to basically save money, is what I would think, that they're starting to pull back their DEI programs. TikTok, we're all on pins and needles as to whether it will be released to be banned or whether it will be kept. And Zuckerberg just seems to be speaking stuff that's not really true. Flint unveils the biodegradable paper battery innovation. Zuckerberg criticizes Apple, Prime's new features. UK University stops using X and the Fusion paper startup. So lots of great things, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day and weekend, and I'm going to catch you guys real soon. Okay, take care, everyone.